use the Force, Luke.
Sometimes truth isn't good enough.
I feel the need for speed.
Hi, I'm Chucky.
Because it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
Well, it's Tuesday, and you know what we do on Tuesday around these parts, Winter Wolf's Den. We're doing Dune Prophecy, Episode 5. I'm bringing not one, not two people in to help explain things to me because I'm not the sharpest wolf in the tooth anymore. So I'm bringing King Z and special guest Magesguild is going to join us also. Knows all kinds of stuff about Dune, has kept me pretty spry over the last hour pre-show talking about different things. So my man definitely knows what he's talking about. Magesguild, welcome. King Z, welcome. Mages, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself real quick before we get into it, we'd love to hear about you a little bit.
Well, first off, greetings to all of you beautiful gems of the Noldor. All of you watching, all of you attending the stream, and all of you in the future, I thank you.
Thank you.
I am a writer, former screenwriter, and technical writer. I worked on various amounts of projects, television, film, studio. I wrote for magazines. I've written novels that are published and role-playing game systems that are published. And I'm generally, at this point, a quasi-retired but still angry media critic who posts his opinions on the internet for random people to read. My
plug your Twitter real quick.
My account on X is Magesguild.org. It's capital M, capital G, capital O. Magesguild.org. And I have recently started a new YouTube channel on top of my previous one where I purged all of the content because I had creative problems with the other people involved. As Star Wars Complained. Again, capital S, capital W, capital C, Star Wars Complained. I've posted a few music videos, and I've posted an intro scroll for Star Wars Chapter 11, Bankruptcy.
I love the name. It's a good rip on Star Wars. Explained. Nicely done. I do enjoy that. That kind of footwork.
That came from Stone Star Wars, who told Star Wars Theory that he should call his channel Star Wars Complained instead of Star Wars Explained. It's actually not my original idea, but I responded to him. I said to both of them, I'll give you 24 hours if either of you want to claim it. And then 26 hours later, nobody claimed it. I said, all right, it's mine now.
Fair game. Fair game, brother. Fair game. That's what we do. King Z, what's going on, bros? You ready?
Nothing much. Just another day. Ready to do this.
All right. Well, we're gonna jump right into some stuff. And for folks that may be tuning in for the first time, we've abandoned doing rating systems per episode for this show because it does really feel to at least King Z and I will get Magesguild's take on that as we go. That this is really one long drawn out story that just has kind of different chapters to it. And you really can't, I don't think you can rate these not within context of everything else. So we're not going to do ratings per the show there. But I will send it to our guest, just give his 64,000 foot view, like overview opinion of the episode before we get into the different beats and scenes that were either good or not so good. And really, Mages, let me just get a general take. What did you think of episode 5 as the penultimate episode in the series?
So, question, am I banned from giving an actual out of 10 reading?
No, you're a guest.
No.
You can do whatever you want.
All right. I'm giving this episode an 8.6 out of 10.
Oh, he's coming in hot. Okay. That's not bad.
I absolutely loved it. And while here's the thing. There's a lot of stuff in here that just isn't in any of the actual lore, but it still works.
And that's key.
All of it works within
about.
The story of the show, and that's what's most important.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about pre-show, King Z, real quick. We were talking about just respecting canon, respecting source material, staying true to, the author's morals, intentions, creative vision, things like that. So when they're not really off the rails with Dune Prophecy is what I'm hearing from Magesguild. They're just kind of moving within the context and the world of Dune, and they're just adding some flavor of their own that's still in line with the original ideas that got put out in the 60s when basically
They're working in the land, but they found the forest that's undeveloped.
there we are. Good take.
My
Anything else, Major? General impression? Sorry.
my take is simple. I mentioned this before the show. They're taking a story right now from Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson that spanned 6 books, each one of
Not
them
short
at
books.
least 300 pages, and trying to fit it into 6 hours of television. There's going to be stuff they have to cut, and there's going to be stuff on which they have to focus. But the fact that they're focusing on the Bene Gesserit is not a condemnation. They are literally, in every book, one of the central forces in the Dune universe, along with the Spacing Guild.
And for those who only watch the movies, you can see that as well. Like the Bene Gesserit's at the middle of everything that's going on. So that is a perfect entity to follow and focus on.
I just feel that too many people are disappointed by the Acolyte and all of these other lesbian space witches shows, that they're just tuned out of this. And it's unfortunate because it's high quality. HBO delivers. The Penguin was great. This show is fantastic. And the fact that they're not marketing this irritates me to no end, because nobody's talking about it at all. Not on X, not on YouTube, not anywhere. There's no budget behind the marketing, and it's just sad, because this show, if you like the Penguin, you'll like this too, most likely.
I see some overlap there.
The Penguin itself wasn't as marketed that much either, but it's in the Batman universe. Superheroes are hot. Sci-fi really isn't. And I've seen a little bit of marketing. Like I saw the trailers and stuff like that beforehand. That's why I brought it to the attention of Winter Wolf here.
I don't know where you saw that, because I said to Magesguild in our pre-show, I was like, I told him the story. I said, I thought you were talking about the Dune MMO that's coming out in January. And I'm like, no, dude, it's coming out in January. I'll play. And you're like, nah, dumbass, it's a show on HBO Max. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, I had no idea. And May just said the same thing. He said he would have completely been blown by him unless somebody brought it to his attention, like face to face.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the issue. You know, I didn't know about this show coming out until about 3 days before it aired.
Right. We were like,
Why?
I was like 2 weeks. I was like 2 weeks out. You know?
And like you brought up those other shows on that other streaming platform with the plus at the end of it.
I'll talk about them.
Max has built that trust with us where we to allow them to have that leeway inside the lore to create a compelling story, because we know they're going to respect it. We know they're going to take off well and they're going to land that plane. We do not have that trust with that other streaming network.
Well, we hope they will, but with D plus, forget it.
Yep. Let me just piggyback, springboard, whatever, off of what Magesguild was saying about just there's so many shows out there that have kind of degraded our trust in these things. I know neither of you guys are giant gamers, but there's a corollary here. The studio Naughty Dog that's most responsible for The Last of Us, another banger for the most part HBO show, had a couple of games in that series come out. The second one not as well received. At the annual gaming awards just came out a week ago, they had a little teaser trailer for their next game called Intergalactic, I think it was. And of course, the main character in that show looks like somebody right out of Concord, the game that we were talking about, Magesguild. Looks like a character from the Acolyte. You know what I mean? It's again, even if this game is a 10 out of 10 game, story-wise, mechanic-wise, anything else, if people catch a sniff of this kind of imagery, messaging, symbology, anything, they're just going to pass on it. And I think we're looking at a period of something like probably 5 years before we can go back to that kind of character archetype where people will appreciate it for the novelty that it could be instead of the mainstay they're trying to cram it into being.
Look at Craven. Nobody cares about this film. No, there's no marketing for it. There's no trailers for it. Nothing on it on YouTube. Nothing on it on X. Nobody cares about it. Marvel is dead. The Western video game industry is just
toast,
eviscerated.
Toast.
The only games that are coming out that people care about are coming out from Korea, South Korea, Japan, and China. Unfortunately, I'm very leery about the CCP entering the video game market, but you know,
as you should be, as you should be. Looking at you, Marvel Rivals and Black Myth Wukong. Check your
Oh
hard
yeah,
drives, folks. Run your
Black
checks.
Myth Wukong is just, yeah, it's popular, but do you really want to give your money to the Chinese
Nope.
Communist Party? No, I
Not
don't.
particularly. Not particularly. Let's switch gears, guys. Let's get into this Dune thing because I watched it twice. I'm pretty sure each of you guys probably did a re-review. I know Magesguild, you were talking about giving it a second watch, even though you probably picked up everything you needed on the first go. King Z is usually good for a watch or two, but he was busy this week, so I don't know if you did homework. Did you watch? You did. Okay, good boy. There we go. So this show, being the penultimate episode, is now putting the accelerator down, moving towards its endpoint. We have a couple of major plays that came up in the episode. I'm game for talking about anything in order, out of order. If Mages as the guest, if there's a particular part you wanted to talk about first or give like an overview, and then we can go from there. Whatever you want to do, buddy.
Well,
you can run it for a minute for me.
Let's do it in order, but let's try to avoid spoilers at first because I really want people to watch this show. I don't just want to give them a synopsis of the episode and my explanation. And this is why my reviews of it on X have always been spoiler free. Literally, I refuse to put any spoilers in those reviews. I did the same thing with a lot of the Penguin episodes, and this show deserves an audience. So I don't want to give away plot points. However, we'll get to that later in a spoilers section afterwards, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, go ahead.
So the episode opens, and King Z, remind me how it opens, because I always need that reminder to get my brain back in here.
The opening of this introduces a new player in the whole story. You see a ship come in, and then a new player is introduced that's going to shape, I think, the last two episodes, something that it needed to drive the plot. This is the push device that's going to push it to where we need it for episode 6. And then
remaining mainly spoiler free, but I think we're cool to name the character. I don't think it's a big spoiler. I think it just kind of it unfolds as it goes, right?
At first, you don't know who she is because you just see that she arrived. There's been no call. There's been like, we need to bring this person in. It just kind of arrives.
Sure.
And then you find out why she's arrived, which you find out she is the mother of Constantine, the son,
the Emperor's
of
son,
the Emperor. Yep.
The Emperor. Yakino?
Havako.
Yep. Havako Carino. House Carino, the Imperial House.
Sorry, I watch a lot of this with subtitles instead of audio until
me too. The mix is often tough on these shows. I need the subtitles.
No, it's just my laptop sucks at audio output. And I just need the subtitles to understand what people are saying because the audio quality is so low. Now with this other headset, I could probably just listen to it.
Sounds good. Yeah, no, you sounded good. So the new player arrives. I'll do a little bit more in depth there, just so we can keep people kind of on the page, and we won't spoil stuff. But it's Constantine's mother. She has made a lasting impression. I think they called imprinting on the Emperor.
Lore. Imprinting is from Heretics and Chapter House Dune. Okay. It is the act of the Bene Gesserit to permanently make someone their sexual slave.
Okay, and that all tracks because we see the immediate impact this woman's arrival has on the Emperor, even in the way he says her name when he sees her for the first time. We get the round the room looks of his wife and other people that are there, like, something not good's gonna happen here. And then, of course, one thing leads to another at the end of the episode that I won't spoil. But yeah, so it's an interesting player that gets brought in because we see again the machinations of Mother Superior Valia, who's trying to plan out 47 moves ahead to stay ahead of Desmond Hart, who's been beating the bag out of her in the last 4 episodes with his own maneuvering. So I think she's an interesting addition to the game and very easy on the eyes, fellas. Just saying. That's my daily.
Yes, indeed.
She is the best looking woman on the show.
I do not apologize for being attracted to anyone.
Nope. Sorry.
No.
She is. And I love the accent. Love it. But anyway, so what do we got next, Kingsley? You're gonna have to drive. This is your job today. You're gonna have to drive.
So when she arrives, you're at she arrives at the palace during the tail end of a ceremony where you see that Desmond Hart has been elevated to a new higher position than he was. He went from a soldier to pretty much a rescued damage victim to a back shadow operator of the Emperor to now to a Bashir of the Empire.
And I think he's going to eventually be Supreme Bashir.
So that's an existing piece of canon lore ranking in the hierarchy of Magesguild? Okay.
That's from the Machine Wars trilogy.
Okay. Whenever those kind of things come up.
Oh, actually,
feel free to pipe those in so I can know.
Technically, it's from God Emperor of Dune originally, but they definitely used it in the Machine Wars trilogy a lot more. Borean Atreides was Supreme Bashir.
Oh, okay. And we've heard that name like we were talking about pre-show. Not a made-up character for the Dune Prophecy series. Somebody existed in canon.
He's definitely in the canon of Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson. He was made up by them, but he's not made up for the show. He was not in any of Frank's publications, but his story tracks.
Okay, cool. So he gets the promotion, like Kingsley was saying. The Emperor kind of lauds him for his quick reasoning, saved many lives. His quick action at the in the courtroom scene from the previous episode. He roasted a couple of traitors and insurrectionists alive in front of all the assembled great houses. Left quite the mark, I would say. Left a little bit of an impact, but he left a little something on that railing as well. That comes back at the end of the episode. That was a nice little reveal. And I'm going to give him some kudos for that when we get that far. And I actually liked how that turned out. I thought that was going to be not as interesting as that was. So I'm happy about that.
I actually sort of expected this, but
interesting.
You know what I've said the last few weeks about the Kwisatz Haderach prototype things. So we'll get into that later.
Sure. Keep it moving, Kingsley. Let's stay on target here.
And as I said last week, I believe that leaving that blood behind in front of Valia was done
purposeful.
On purpose. Yep. He wanted to introduce himself.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, look. Honestly, I would have thought there would have been some disagreement here on this point, because I think my point, Kingsley and Mages, you were in the chat, you would know. I thought I said this could be the thing that upends him as the antagonist in the series. Like, it's the one mistake he made after playing such an airtight ball game through 4 episodes. So I still disagree. I don't think it's on purpose yet. We're gonna have to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, I think it's a chess move. He has not done anything that has not been intentional for his purpose.
All right.
I agree with King. There's no way he accidentally left his blood in front of Mother Superior.
Listen, dude, he was weak. We saw the effects that Mages. Is there a name for the power that he uses when he activates and does his thing?
What he does in this show is not from the books.
Okay, so there's no canonical label for the spell.
It's not a spell. What he's what he's doing is using spice-enhanced psychic powers. But
so there's not a name for the psionic ability, D&D chat, 5th edition.
What he has done in this show has never existed in the books at all.
Okay. So for the sake and purpose of me keeping my sanity, I'm just going to call it the spell. Can we all agree on that so I can keep it complete?
I am not going to call it a bloody spell. It is a psychic ability.
Listen, we'll give you guessed right on this one. So he uses a psychic ability and it burns him out. So I think it was a lapse of judgment because he was in a weakened state that he rested against the handrail and left the blood.
I think you're outvoted here. This is 3-1. Look at the comment on the screen.
Who? Oh. You saw it. You read it out then. I'm not.
It's a second generation Dune freak here. I think Desmond did the blood thing on purpose, but it hopes that he finds his mother and punishes her too.
All right, fine. I agree. The three of you do the show. I'm leaving. I'll just go. You guys can just talk. Whatever. That's fine. Whatever. So Desmond's a perfect villain. He's a Gary Stu. Fine.
But here's the thing: in the Dune universe, there are no heroes and there are very few villains.
Okay.
Baron Harkonnen
ambiguity.
It's the series is about human motivation. It's not about heroes and villains. It just never has been. It's about exploring the human condition and what humanity might accomplish in the future. Paul Atreides is not a hero. He was never meant
definitely
to be
not.
a hero.
No, even I know that. Mages, let me ask you a question, and Kingsley and Emerald, if you're in the chat as a big lore person also. They mention here in that very first scene where Havoko is having his little chat with everybody, that they harken back to our time on old Earth. I had no idea this was set in our universe at all. How far in the past is old Earth to them?
About 10,000 years.
Okay, so this show is 10,000 years before the movies that I'm familiar with now.
Oh no!
And old Earth is 10,000 before that.
Let me explain.
Shoot.
So, in the books, in the chronology, including the works of Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson, mind you, about 10,000 years before this show, the Titans took over Earth. They basically manipulated the thinking machines that were in control, where everybody was happy and basically complacent.
Yeah.
The person that did this was called Flaylock. He was a Thulaxu, probably intended to be the first of the Thulaxu, and he basically overrode the code of the thinking machines and created a new established order of Titans. Unfortunately, later in the story, the Titans that were in control, one of them in particular, allowed the AI called Omnius to be in control. And Omnius enslaved the human beings. And this followed with many battles and wars.
That's not the name of the AI that Tula is using, is it? Did I pick up on that?
No.
Okay, just checking. No. Okay, just checking. I thought it sounded familiar when you just said it. Okay, so how far in the past is old Earth from Dune Prophecy present day? Did you say 10,000?
About 10,500 years in the past.
Okay. See, I had no idea that it had any real life connection to humanity. I thought it was just a long time ago in a galaxy far away type of story.
In short, in the story, Earth is nuked.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Battlestar Galactica.
This is what creates the ban on nuclear weapons in Dune, because multiple planets were nuked in the Machine Wars, including Earth.
But they still have them by the time of the movie proper, right?
They do have them. The great houses have them, but they are basically just a threat. Nobody wants to use them, and they do get used in Dune Messiah.
Okay,
that is how Paul Atreides loses his eyes. They drop a nuke on Arrakis, and it burns out Paul's eyes. But because of his prescience, he can still see. And this is what makes people realize that he is the chosen one, because he's in front of the Fremen leaders, and they're telling him that people who lose their eyes must go out into the desert, because those who cannot see cannot, protect the tribe. And he says, but I can still see.
Right.
And he describes everything in front of him to them, to their amazement. And thus
he's the Messiah,
as it is written.
As it is written, right? Yep, I get that. All right, Mages, I appreciate the deep cut in the lore. That's thankfully why you're here, because I'm painfully uninitiated on it, and I can't read the book at this point in my life. I just can't. I don't have the time.
I can send you the audio books if you'd like.
I believe I have them on my Audible. I don't even have time for that, much to Kingsley's chagrin, who tried to convince me that I could read 70,000 books a year if I played them on triple speed, as if that's something.
No, I can't even play something on double speed. Screw that.
I can't even do 1.25. I can't even do 0.125. It sounds too stupid. There's no dramatic pause.
1.5 to 1.7. If it's a boring book, will definitely give you some.
You shouldn't be reading a boring book. Life's too short, dude.
Sometimes you have to get through the slog to finish the series to something great in the final book.
Mages, I told you Kingsley was a Wheel of Time guy, and he just said,
yes, I am.
That's all you need to know, right? He knows what the bad books are.
Book 7 through book 10.
Dude, that's a travesty. That's a travesty.
Really? Anyway. It got bad that quickly. Oh, that's unfortunate.
But it picks back up in book 11. And that's 1,800.
That's 1,800 pages of your life you're not getting back.
But you need those
7 times.
You still need those to set up what happens in book 11 and then what happens in book 14.
Thank you, Copilot AI, for breaking down the bullet points of those terrible books.
I had mates that were absolute Wheel of Time dedicated hard fans, and my problem, I read book one, but my problem was this is going on for a long time, and I don't know if the author is going to live long enough to finish the story, which ultimately he didn't, and someone else did. I mean, it's literally the same reason I haven't read Winds of Winter's sequels.
because they're never getting done. It's never going to happen. It's just abandon all hope. It's not happening. Let me reel us back into Dune, though, so we can get through our show.
Go ahead.
Right? Gotcha. And I appreciate all our sidebars. Believe me, that keeps it fun, and why I keep coming back on Tuesday for the show. Where were we, gents? We did the Hart gets promoted. He's forming a new elite unit. They're going to root out insurrection and terrorists. Yada yada. Good stuff.
Yeah. They're going after people with thinking machine connections, which is definitely true to the lore. The Butlerians absolutely wanted to kill everybody that had anything adjacent to a thinking machine, much less a thinking machine
like the
itself.
Toys that we saw,
everything.
Right? Okay, so Kingsley, what's next on the scene list there? What would we go?
So if you check out my tagline, the next part is one of my favorite interactions through the.
That was a great line. That was one of my. I actually laughed at that. I love when a serious show, because this is a serious show. Like this isn't like we say all the time. Marvel likes to have its beats where it gets serious and someone dies or someone quits or this and that. And just as you're enjoying like the pathos of that whole thing, they undercut it with some stupid ass joke, and I'm like, well, I got nothing left now. This show is not Marvel, so like they can have all serious stuff. And then when like they just slide in one very well written line with an eye roll, like the dude rolls his eyes when he says it. I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty good. But continue, go ahead. Run me through
it's like what everyone's thinking at those points when someone's having that conversation. Like, I don't know. Why don't you tell me? It's your story.
It's your story. But that dude is also a psychopath and has like a knife. So that's the thing. You know, we could kill him.
But it was his interaction with I think he is now the Baron Harkonnen, since his great uncle has now passed away.
Right.
Yes, he is. He absolutely is the Baron now.
Yeah. Okay. So he's having that interaction, and this is he uses his knowledge and his disdain for his aunt to maybe start getting some political clout by befriending the Bashir and giving him information that he might be able to use. And I love how he ties it back to his whale fur again, too.
But it's always about whale fur.
This is why you have to watch the episodes twice, because if you follow that interaction with the one that he has with Valia later, it seems like she's in on that plan.
Yeah. It does. It definitely does.
There's a reason I watch these things twice back to back, because every episode, literally everyone, is plans within plans, which is absolutely what Dune should be.
Yeah. Well, we've said a bunch of times on this show, Mage. I don't remember. Were you in our chat for episode 1? I don't know if you had joined us for episode 1. I think you came in.
I think it was episode 2. I think it was episode 2.
I think so too. One of the things King Z always said, because I said the same thing even after enjoying the recent Dune movies 1 and 2. I said, I like them, but I feel like there should be a little bit more action to them. And King Z starts shaking his head and he's like, listen, this isn't the Pew Pew franchise for you. You know what I mean? It is supposed to be, to a degree, better parts of Game of Thrones in space, where it is plans and machinations within plans and mysteries and subterfuge and backstabs and all that kind of stuff. You're not going to get the Battle of the Bastards on this show.
This is why if
you leave that at the door, you'll enjoy it more. And I did, and I have.
This is why you need to read Dune Messiah. It's a short read. It's half the size of Dune.
Now, I could probably do that. Now, what's the POV from Messiah? Is it in that omniscient head-hopping nonsense of the first book?
No, hold on. This is the story in general. The Bene Gesserit, the Spacing Guild, the Bene Thlalax all form a coalition to undermine and remove Paul Atreides as the emperor. They conspire with Princess Irulan to A, get him to have an heir with her, and B, remove him completely. It is all political machinations.
But how is it as a read in terms of pacing? Because I think the machinations is great, but there needs to be, if we're not doing pew pew, we need some kind of technical action, whether it is literal like an assassination attempt, or it's a
All right,
romantic entanglement. You know what I mean? There needs to be something besides the maneuvering to
there's
get me hooked.
everything in this fucking book.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I'll look into it.
Dune Messiah is my favorite book out of the entire series. And it's
Oh, all right.
and it's not even
Okay.
that, it's literally half the size of the original, but it is so cram-packed with all sorts of different things going on. It's beautiful. And
do you think if I've seen the first two movies, if I've seen recent Dune 1 and 2, do I have enough knowledge base to read and enjoy Dune Messiah on its own?
you have enough knowledge, but the movies, they're not.
That's my friend. That's the only frame of reference.
They're not completely accurate at all. There are a lot of characters they cut out. Some that I terribly miss. The idea that the Harkonnens live under a black sun is entirely original to the films. It's not. It's fan fiction, but
yeah,
the heart and the fact that the Harkonnens are all bald is idiotic. Harkonnens are famous for having bright red hair.
Oh, all right, so they took that in a different direction.
I
want to read out Emerald real quick if I could, just because I want to get these as I go. Yeah, thank you. Messiah is a much more readable book, and all the things are there, so it's good. Okay, all right, cool. Good to know. That's 2 strong votes. Appreciate that. Take a peek at that.
I am concerned about the degingerification of the Harkonnens.
I'm concerned about the degingerification of Hollywood and IP in general.
Well, yes, but you have to realize this is intentional.
Species.
Somebody out there made the choice to remove the Harkonnens' red hair. Thankfully, in this show, at least the Harkonnens have auburn hair.
Yeah,
but it should be pure ginger. It should be bright red. It shouldn't be auburn. And that's the end of that rant.
Okay. Let me pick up Daywalkers. Let me pick, that's in a different movie we can definitely talk about. Let me pick up the end of that scene where Harrow's talking to Desmond Hart, because I wasn't sure if he was going to walk out of that room, to be honest. I thought the tension in that scene was pretty good. Can you guys explain to me? I understand that Desmond's trying to get him to drop a dime on his aunt. He's looking for info that he's going to bribe him with reward and clearing his name if he can take down the sisterhood. We don't know that there's a personal motivation for that just yet from Hart. But what I need to know is the blue device that he gave him and walked out of the office, is that a recording device? Was that a bug? Or we believe that Harrow was carrying some kind of recording device when he was talking with Valia later? Or is that yet to be revealed? Or is it a bomb that he's just going to detonate and kill her when he thinks he's next to her?
No, I don't think it was a bomb. I thought it was more spice that he could
take all it was?
with him.
It was just giving
it was a ball type thing. I couldn't make it out. All right, what
so
it was.
This is from Chapter House Dune. It's a gem. I forget what the world is called. It's worth a lot of money.
Oh, okay. So it's a payment. It's just money.
That's just money.
Currency of some kind. Okay. All right. See, I thought it was all like listening device, and we're gonna get it's planted under a table.
I mean, unless I'm completely mistaken, it's an opalescent gem from a water world.
It lit up when he opened it, and then it lit up gold in the middle or blue in the middle, and then the blue went away when he was about to close the lid. I thought something like that. So
in Heretics and Chapter House, they mine these things from the sea on a planet, and they're just used as currency. I forget exactly what they're called, but they're a type of pearl.
But it's a big deal.
Oh, it's worth. It's worth. It's like worth half the price of a planet.
Okay, all right. So it's a big deal. So he's now on the dime. Next scene, King Z.
So this is where you have the let's just continue with this art with the Harkonnen comes back to see his aunt, and like as you said there, Magesguild, it looked like she was in on it, but I don't think she was in on all of it. Like the whole part where she's involved. I think it was to give up the traders and the smugglers, but it wasn't the part where like it was changing his mind to like start listening more into what she's saying to get another payment. Like if that is a gem, like you said, which makes more sense. Like I have one of these. There's more if you can give me more, which will also boost your house as well when you have wealth. Yeah. So I think it like changed his motivation a little bit too when it came to his aunt and his mother superior there.
Well, Harrow as an interesting character. I mean, he's a coward, but not always, and he's learning the subtle skills of manipulating.
Oh,
his
definitely.
his fostering definitely did not inspire him to be this type of person, but he's learning it from Valia, and he's learning it from the people that he's surrounded by. And now that he's in a position of power, he's trying to flex and leverage it to the best of his ability, which is still weak.
Right.
And
he's a useful idiot, I'm guessing, down the stretch is where we're going.
No, I think he's going to become the successor to the house.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's a little bit better than I was thinking he was going to get. I thought that this would be the guy sacrificed at the first sign of trouble from any side, from any faction. That's where I thought it was going with them. But where are we at? What's up?
Well, if you think about like medieval life, the minor houses did all the work for the greater houses. Kind of like think of the proxy wars between Russian and the United States, with like Vietnam, Korea, stuff like that. So it's kind of the same thing.
You delegate. Yeah, I got you. I feel it. Makes sense. So where are we at scene wise after? Keep the train moving for me here.
All right, so we're gonna have to speed up a little bit as time is ticking by as we are enjoying our conversation here. Yeah, for sure. I think we need to hit our next big one is when Desmond goes out on his hunting, and his first stop is with Swordmaster Atreides.
Yeah,
and
that was tense.
And he's starting to get that fear because he was with the rebels, and like he had them turn and face him. He's like, "We're going to go hunt rebels. Do you want to come?"
He got bailed out. He got bailed out for sure.
And then he was like, "Well, maybe next time." And
I just wanted to say real quick, I love that. I should have had the actor's name, and maybe Magesguild knows if he's kind of checking out. Do we have the actor's name that's playing Desmond Hart? Like, is he from other stuff?
I don't know, but he is so good. His performance,
weird, it's weird. It's off-putting. Yes. It's the inflection, like when he pulled the chair over and he tapped it and told Harrow to sit down, and then maybe we will.
For the record,
whatever he said.
You asked me the question. His name is Travis Fimmel.
Okay, is he in anything big or mainstream?
No, I don't recognize him from anything, but he's fantastic.
See, dude, all agreed, all around then, right? All agreed? Yeah, for sure.
He's
probably
fantastic.
The best character on the show. He's creepy in a way that no Game of Thrones villain ever really creeped me out, I don't think, except for maybe Ramsay. Ramsay's just a creepy motherfucker. Let's be honest, okay?
Oh, come on. You don't think that Matt Smith killed it?
Matt Smith chose a lot of what he's in. You expect that from Matt Smith. This guy's coming from as a virtual unknown.
Yeah, I mean, unless he's in something like Bridgerton, and I just don't watch that. What do I know? I don't know.
As you can see, Oracle commented, and he says that he's from Vikings.
Let me load up his IMDb.
Well, we have it in the chat. We have somebody backstage that just let us know he's in Vikings, which is a pretty big show on streaming. I haven't seen it, but I know it's a big show.
Oh yeah,
so he's at least in that. That's some profile. It's got some profile. It's out there. So that solid scene. He says maybe next time. Yep, go Mages. Yeah.
And then
everyone in this show is excellent. All of the acting, the visuals, the direction. It does. All you need to do to have a successful show is to get talent. Instead of hiring people based on DEI, you just have to actually do anything. Compare this to War of the Rohirrim, where nobody cares at that either. But
that was just to keep the rights, and we all know it. And the reviews are supporting that 100%.
So,
for sure.
Travis Fimmel is from Australia.
Anything big besides Vikings at a glance, so we can move on.
Well, I'm trying to look. Go ahead and move on. I can always.
Okay.
He's okay. Yeah, I got a big one for you. He's in Warcraft. Warcraft: The Beginning. He's going to be in that. He's in that.
Ouch.
I'm sorry, not going to, but he was in Warcraft: The Beginning. Danger Close.
There we go.
I haven't seen that.
We're the Horde.
For the Defender of the Alliance. The Alliance. Anyway, we get two different factions going on in this chat.
If you want an absolute travesty, he's in Rust.
Oh God.
The game.
No, the film. You remember the guy that shot his fucking
movie where Alec Baldwin shot the director and the girl standing behind him, and she got it all pinned on the alleged weapon master on set who had no experience and had never.
Oh, that Rust.
Yes, that Rust.
That Rust. He's in that.
That's a travesty. So does he have to pay to get that taken off of his IMDb? We'll put a pin in that. We'll figure it out. What's the next scene, King Z? Let's keep going. Let's move.
All right, moving on to stay with that storyline is where they get to the Fremen bar.
Yep.
The Fremen owned bar where you saw the rebels like their hangout, where he hooks up with the princess, everything like that.
Atreides.
Atreides shows up. He warns her, and he shows that that she has like detonators for the whole thing, kind of like a setup to actually bring him there.
Yep.
And then his guys get there while they're down in the basement setting their charges, and then she comes up, and there's a nice interaction between the two of them. Like I said, he's good.
Creepy. I thought she was dead.
I really love the last words he said to her. What a delivery! Just a perfect delivery. I'm not going to spoil it yet because we're not there yet, but perfect delivery.
We can be there if we need to be there. We're at the 40-minute mark. I think we're good.
Well,
if you can spoil if you want. Go ahead. I give you permission. We're good. Fire away.
Don't let me see you again.
Yeah. Yeah. We're a step ahead. I thought you meant the last line that Desmond Hart said to Michaela.
No, the last line that he said
that Atreides says. We'll get to that in a second. You're right. My bad.
Yeah.
I made you skip too far. I apologize. Desmond Hart comes in with his guys. They start searching the place. Atreides is laying the rest of the bombs downstairs. Michaela tries to sweet talk Hart. He's not buying. He's like, let's go check downstairs, upstairs, whatever. They find the illegal spice, and here we go.
Not only did they find the spice.
How much spice? That's enough spice to buy a planet.
Right, all of it. Yeah. But he found something else, and I know King Z is going to point it out. Go ahead. So he knows the writing is no longer on the wall.
He found one of the veils.
Yep, he found Michaela's PG veil.
But he found it too late because if you cut to the rest of the scene, what happened is Swordmaster Atreides starts taking out his elite.
You guys keep calling him Atreides. His name is Kieran.
His last name's Atreides, isn't it?
He's an Atreides.
Yes, but why is this the only character to which you refer by his last name?
I said Hart
instead of his name.
No, I said Hart.
Yeah. But
I don't know names, dude.
Yeah, you said Hart. That's also a last name.
I'm showing honorific because I call him Swordmaster Atreides.
Right, but that could have been anybody. Just kidding. It's off the rails, guys. It's off the rails. But anyways, he throws down some special forces moves, destroys like 3 of his guys. She makes a break for it. She gets taken down by the leg, and just when he thinks he can't get there in time, out comes the fold-out knife, and she goes to work.
Yeah, she does.
She John Wicks this dude. Yeah, 4 hits
because they know that the bombs are armed.
Yep.
I'm sorry. That should have been a Chris knife. That should not have been one of these fold-out knives. It should have been a Chris knife.
Yeah, I agree with you. With her being Fremen, she should have had a Chris knife.
And I don't get the whole fold-out as a throwing knife that we saw Valia use like 4 times over the show. I don't think that's weighted properly.
I don't understand why that particular type of weapon would be associated with a Bene Gesserit specifically, because it's just a common type of object.
I wonder if it's for the visual of them slowly pulling it out.
I mean,
no. And the fold out. You know what I mean?
I understand that it's for the aesthetics,
the style, right.
But
exactly.
it story-wise, that doesn't make any sense because there are 10,000 worlds that have knives.
Right,
this is not something new.
Right, for sure. Go ahead, King. Go ahead.
So one of the things, if you watch the after credits thing, one of the things they talked about was when you have a scene where you're destroying the set, it's set for a long day, and they showed some of the blooper reels. So I would suggest go back and check it out.
Okay,
like
I will.
You see the actors look, it's like, ooh.
I'll check that out after. So the whole thing was like King was saying a minute ago, to bring in Desmond Hart. It was a trap they laid for him. They're going to get him killed. There's a nice little bit of setup and payoff here, which, as everybody knows, I'm a fan of. Earlier in the episode, Desmond Hart's trading out his old desert rat rags for the all-black ensemble of the Bashar, and we see him put on the personal energy shield thing. We're like, okay, that's pretty slick, because when he realizes he's about to die, he untaps that thing and just clams up real tight.
And the bad thing is, like I said, what he found in the spice was one of the Bene Gesserit's veils.
Michaela's veil, right.
And he found it right before the bomb went off.
Right.
And unfortunately for him, he didn't get to keep it.
Nope.
Nope. Because that bomb went off and then some. I don't know I'm thinking if you have the kind of technology to have personal shields that can survive that kind of explosion, those should just be standard issue to everybody. If they're not just walking around town, you know what I mean? Like maybe if a car hits you, you don't die because you had that on. I don't know.
Well,
just seems like it might be useful.
There are pros and cons to the shields, but they aren't cheap. I mean, we're talking about a system of economics. Everyone, look at how the Atreides clan was surviving on this little planet. Not everybody is wealthy.
That's a good point. So, and I think that's a great way to manage and balance the OP-ness, as we say in gaming, of having that kind of device that would just make you a steamroller for any kind of opposition that you'd have. That makes sense.
Something I'll note, that suitcase of Solari that he presented, it's worth a fraction of the amount of spice that they just lost, which is why our lovely little Bene Gesserit was so angry at Valia later.
Yes.
When she said, I just sacrificed everything I built over the
and like I said, that was enough spice to buy at least a planet. That suitcase of Solari, it wouldn't even pay for one of those vats of spice.
Oh, okay. That puts it in perspective.
Yeah, that was a lot of spice.
Okay. I like too when Desmond Hart, I said his whole name that time just for you, Magesguild. He grabs a handful of it, he pulls it up to his face, he's like he's the only one walking through there without the respirator. And I'm like, I know a couple things about meth labs and walking through them and whatnot. Maybe you need to have the proper breathing gear on so as not to get high on the job. Bashar, okay?
Desmond has already survived being eaten by a sandworm. They are the origin of spice. There's no reason why he should have any aversion to it.
Okay, so he's already got +5 resistance to spice intoxication. We'll go with that. All right, so let's get to the part Magesguild was talking about. Vorian Atreides. No, it's not Vorian. No. It's Kieran. Whichever. Kieran. This is why I just stick with the last name, dude. Now you know. Atreides gets outside with Michaela, and of course, they had a little dialogue inside about whether or not Horus would have wanted her to run or not run. And when they get outside, he finally puts together, I think, right, that she's the one that sold Horus out in the previous episode and got him burned alive at court. And that's when he drops the Magesguild line of, "Don't let me see you again. I don't care if our purposes are aligned. Fuck you. You got a friend of mine killed. Like, I'm out." Okay. I just want to make sure that's what she was
Plus, he also knows that he's being played and that they actually have a hand in the whole rebellion.
And they were going to burn him.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not dumb. He's very savvy of what's going on.
He left his key in his open locker. That was kind of dumb.
That was a dumb mistake. So let's follow young Constantine now. That's a good segue to follow young Constantine now. Because you can see, as we mentioned before, we had a new character enter in who has a hold over our good emperor, and that she's the mother of Constantine. He's the one who actually sent for her, because she drops that line, is like, "I'm not here on official business," because they're like, "This is a private party," because she's Bene Gesserit. Right. Or sisterhood. They're not Bene Gesserit yet, but the sisterhood.
Yep.
For the record, I think that's a lie. I think she's lying.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh.
What? We got something. We got feedback in the background.
Oh, so I missed that part. She pointed out that he mentioned during the episode that he didn't call her and doesn't know why his mother's there.
Oh yeah, no. I thought you meant the Emperor. Yeah, no, we know the Emperor didn't call. No, it's Valia.
No.
Valia sent for her using Constantine's name, and that's why Constantine said, "I didn't send a crystal. You're here for Kasha, right?" And she's like, "What about Kasha? Kasha's dead." Oh, okay.
I totally missed that part.
Yeah, no, because that leads into when she's sitting down with Valia later. She explains that she goes, "The Space Guild's been known to monitor dispatches. I couldn't alert them to your mission with them," alluding that she's embedded within their org to bring her home to get back to pushing Havako in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yay! I got something you didn't get.
Yeah, to bring him back into the fold of what their overall intentions are.
She's so gorgeous though.
But we also saw the friction between him and his sister, and then them patching it up.
Okay, let me put a pin in that because I need both of you guys to figure this out for me. So Princess, whatever her face is, basically commits treason in open court, and
her name is
she's
Yanez.
Yanez. Okay, thank you.
Yanez.
And somehow not incarcerated for her actions. Really?
She's the princess.
Who cares?
I don't think that Haviko wants the political tension at this point.
Oh, dude, I don't know, man. You called me out in front of the great houses. You might have to go away for a while.
But Haviko won in the end, so
True.
What she did only bolstered his position. Why would he arrest her for it?
Impulse, anger, being defied. He's not really that kind of guy from what I've seen, I guess.
Look, Haviko is based on a character from Sisterhood of Dune who's really kind of weak-minded, and his brother basically runs the Empire.
He's presented that way throughout this whole show too. So you're right. That's consistently in character. That makes sense.
We have a term for that. It's called noodleback.
Yep. Quote him. Hashtag in the chat. Noodleback. We're using it. We're using that next show. Okay, so that makes. Thank you for explaining that away. Then, so there's a brother and sister friction there.
Basically, in the book, the Emperor's wife in this show is basically a stand-in for his brother. Because his brother's basically in charge and tries to. No, it's not that. It's just that the Emperor himself is kind of an idiot, and his brother is very intelligent, but has no official power to act. So he's constantly advising the Emperor on what he should do and trying to keep him from doing rash and stupid things.
Okay, I guess everybody needs that kind of guy around.
And he did a rash and stupid thing because he went to Lankavale in the book and basically tore down the Sisterhood in the book.
Oh, I could see where that maybe this show and this series.
I'm sorry, not Lankavale. Like I'm sorry, wrong planet.
Wallach 9.
No, it's not Wallach 9 in the book either.
Oh, okay. I was like, it's definitely Wallach in this show. That's the only planet I remember.
They're doing that because it just makes it easier for the audience to understand.
Sure. Okay. All right. Let's keep it trucking. What was next after that? The brother and sister make their peace.
Yep. And then you see the mother meet with Valia and saying to pull him back in.
Yep.
They, just to speed it up, just for this sanctity of time here.
Sorry, it's Lampetus. Lampetus. I had the right L. It's Lampetus.
Thank you.
Okay. So they want to manipulate him to bring him back into the fold, and then also give Constantine more power in charge of the fleet that's going to secure Arrakis. And then she uses her influence on both her son and him, telling her son to step up and, start being a man. And I mean, he got the same speech from Swordmaster Atreides as well.
Yep. Yeah, take some accountability for yourself if you want your dad's respect. For sure. Mom just put a nicer spin on it, like moms do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I
pretty much tells you the same thing.
Character.
As the form is called tact. She performs it with tact, and which leads to him finding this stand he left in his open drawer in his closet.
Dumbass. In the dojo.
Yeah,
which had his quarters.
Which had the exact line of attack that would have happened and killed everybody. So when he runs back into Atreides after he gets back to the palace, he has him arrested. And, he steps up to the plate, which at the dinner he gets rewarded the fleet. Exactly what the sisterhood wanted.
Right.
And
basically like frame for frame, like beat by beat. Like exactly what they wanted. Yeah.
And then when you talk about good writing and bad writing, I want to point out one scene during that dinner. Like, you see him look at his sister, and then like kind of just accept what he got. And then there's a scene where he's talking with the Emperor, and she's down there looking at him. In a lesser show, they would have had him turn, look, and smile, and then go back to his conversation.
Yeah.
No, it was completely just the conversation going on, which I think that is a lot better, more nuance type writing in that.
I'd agree 100% on that.
The thing that I love about HBO is that their characters, whoever's directing these shows, they understand the art of subtlety.
Yep.
Yes.
You don't have to sit there for 20 minutes and explain your plans. You just, with a nod and a glance, everyone knows what's going on.
Yes.
Yep.
Nuance, subtlety, something a lot of show writers and screenwriters don't have these days.
Oh, they are so obligated to hammer at home. Right, go ahead, Mages. Go ahead. Yep.
I'd say so many of these writers are club-footed. They have to
100%.
hit you over the head with their ideas. And if you look at a show like The Acolyte, everything is so telegraphed. You know exactly what's going to happen, and they think that it's going to be a surprise.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
everyone
Smiler
knew
Ren was the
Queer.
apprentice. Right. Smiler Ren was Green Chick's apprentice the whole time. Really? Super really? Like, dude, no, everybody fucking knew that. Stupid.
And everyone knew that Quimir is going to be the Sith. It's like,
right.
they give you all of these hints, as they call them, where it's just bold in your face. This is what this person is going to be.
It's neon signs up in Broadway and shit. There ain't nothing subtle about that show. Where are we at on our playlist here, King Z? We're gonna be coming up near the end, right?
We got to wrap it up, and we have to travel to Waller 9 to finish this up because we see Lila.
And not really.
We see what she's really like. They pull in the rebel chick,
Jen. I know her name now.
Yeah, Jen.
She's growing on me.
Yeah, brings her in to kind of help watch things because she's trying to control the school as well while Mother Superior's gone.
You're talking about Tula, yeah.
Tula, yep. And you can see there's some contention between her and the other sisters as well.
Avila, yeah.
And then
I told you, I think she's going to kill her.
She's gonna kill her. And then you also have like a whole bunch of the acolytes leaving and requesting to go home. You see that ship thing, and you see when Desmond's blood arrives to Waller 9. But at the point you see Tula. Not Tula, Layla.
Lila. The young one.
Can I not remember her name?
You really can't over like 5 episodes. It's weird.
Lila, you see her going through her abomination and being possessed by her different ancestors till they finally get the right one at the right time. And then you see her like going through the studies of the brainstem of the sister that got burned away, and
Kasha.
she recognizes it. She recognizes what it is, and that's why I think Desmond is actually a bioweapon. He's not actually has a power. I think that he's releasing something. I don't know how. I haven't figured that part out yet, but it's not a power. It's a bioweapon that he's releasing.
Let's get Mage's take on that then, because if he's a walking bioweapon, how could he infect people a galaxy away? Because they say it's a virus. It's an airborne retro RNA virus.
First off, he didn't infect someone a galaxy away. He had contact with her on Salusa Secundus.
He was already there. Oh, he was already there.
Mm-hmm.
And second,
that's right.
I want to give praise to Chloe Lay for her portrayal as Lila, because she was phenomenal playing Sister Raquella.
2 completely different characters. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you can see a distinct difference between the 2 characters.
Yep.
Absolutely. Sitting there 100%. In the lab, all business versus her as a more fragile person.
She was very much Mother Raquella. She was an older lady when she needed to be, like an older, professional, knowledgeable, skilled Mother Superior. 100%. I'm right there with you.
And for a young actress like her, that is phenomenal to pull off.
Yep.
So don't forget her name, Chloe Lay. She's an upcoming rising star.
Okay, mark it down. You guys heard it here. So if he had contact with Kasha on, I call it the Imperial planet because I can't remember the planet name.
Salusa Secundus. Salusa Secundus.
That's right. And Desmond said at the beginning. So he did that, and then he touched the toy that the kid had and then passed it back to him. And that's how he managed to pull that off then. Okay, all right.
Now,
so that makes
the
sense.
question is, how did he manage to do it in the Landsrod?
Because he touched them all when he walked by, didn't he? When they were the 3 of them were on their knees, he touched them all, I think.
I think he
touched the one smuggler. No, he wasn't a smuggler. He was just a guy.
No, he was one of the leaders of the Great House.
That's right.
He was a house leader.
I think he touched him on the shoulder or on the hand or something. But I'm pretty sure he touched each of the prisoners on the shoulder when he was walking by as he was giving his speech. So I think you nailed it. I think you hit it right on. Nicely done. I forgot all about that from Kasha in episode 1.
I still like that they're referencing something that happened in the Machine Wars. It's a nice callback because Omnius did devise viruses to destroy humanity.
Oh, cool! Cool. So that's actually derived from lore. Excellent. I love that. I love that too. And even as a guy that hasn't read it and doesn't have that familiarity, I can appreciate that somebody working on the effing show knew enough about canon to do that. Which is why, like you said, all of these shows that HBO has done recently, House of the Dragon, the one we're on now, even things going back to like The Last of Us, at least these things try to hit canon on the head and give you enough of stuff that's accurate. That way, if they have to, do something different, like Jackson did with the Fellowship of the Ring trilogy, you have to condense, remove, omit, or like Magesguild said earlier with taking things out of the Dune books for this series. If they isolate the good stuff, they can remove portions of the other stuff, and I won't care. I'll be okay with it because it'll work. That's all
Well,
I need.
I mean, how do you take what accounts to 60 hours of
right
media
Of
and
audiobooks?
condense it into 6? You can't.
Right.
It's impossible.
Exactly.
That's why
6 seasons of programming.
That's why I don't hate this show. I hate Rings of Power because they had the opportunity 2 years in a row to make something good, and instead turned out complete trash.
Got it. Nailed it. All right, where are we at here, boys?
The,
with
the last thing is the big reveal at the end.
And this was good.
Because they, as I said, that Desmond's blood was delivered. It was given to Tula from the other sister when she also realizes that the sister didn't die, that she brought her back to life, and that Jin knows as well.
Yep.
And she's like, "What's going on here?" She's like, "None of your business." Yeah, she's
not
like,
safe for you in there.
You didn't see anything here.
I think that's why she's going to kill her. She said, it's not safe for you in there. But yeah, so they fast forward through all that. They identify the DNA. Tula runs it privately. She runs the blood scan and realizes that it's the Desmond Hart is the combination of an Atreides bloodline, a union with a Harkonnen, and then of course in the very next split frame that they go to, it's Desmond Hart recovering from the explosion, and then we get the fallout with him and the Empress. It's like, the sisterhood took everything from me. What did they take from you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh snap.
He's like, I took my husband, took my son, trying to take my daughter.
Yep. It's you. It's you. Your personal vendetta is Tula had to let you go, and you had to grow up scrapping and scavenging, and you've got the vendetta now. Okay, that tracks. So, go ahead, Mages, because I got one more scene that we skipped that I really want to get guys' opinion on before we go. Go ahead.
This is something that I predicted. If you recall, I said he is going to be the prototype Kwisatz Haderach.
Yep.
I literally expected after was it episode 3 that he was going to be a bloodline of both the Harkonnens and the Atreides.
In flashback episode 3.
Yep.
This did not come off as a surprise to me. It came off as a logical conclusion. By the way, to answer your earlier question, I know I should have addressed it at the time, but the AI's name is Anarul after Reverend Mother Anarul.
Thank you. I couldn't remember what it was, but it phonetically, for some reason, sounded like the one that you mentioned. I was like, oh wait, is that the same one? Did they bring the machine back also? Holy crap.
It's literally just Raquel's surname. And she is from the books. She's a real character. Tula's a real character, and Valia's a real character. All of them are from the books, but they're from the Brian and Kevin J. Anderson books. For all of the people out there that are going to say that it's not real Dune because they don't like them as authors, whatever.
Can't make everybody happy all the time.
No, but I've asked a lot of these people to give me reasons why they don't like them, and they just say they don't like Kevin J. Anderson or something like that. It's I've yet to get a sophisticated answer to the question of why they don't like those books. I'm a science fiction reader. I like them for being decent to good to excellent science fiction. No, they are not in the style of Frank Herbert. But who is?
Right. It's like asking who's in the style of Tolkien. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. Right. Or C.S. Lewis or any or Hemingway. Great authors exist only a few times in a lifespan.
Right. Generational talents.
And each author has their own voice, and you got to capture your own voice. Whether you're picking up where someone left off, you still have to do it the way you write. You can't just sit there and mimic what someone else is doing, thinking you can finish it.
Untrue. I wrote in the style of many people. I was on different magazines. I had various editors that I ghost wrote for, various other writers that I ghost wrote for. I learned their style, and I presented articles for them in their style so that they didn't have to write anything. That's
Isn't that what you just?
but
Isn't that what
but
Kingsley that you like when Sanderson picked up Wheel of Time? He finished it in like the mimicked voice of Robert
They
Jordan.
they said that the last book sounded like Jordan. The rest was Sanderson. The first,
Okay.
because he
Okay,
said he
that
couldn't
makes
do it in
sense.
one book. He had to do it in 4.
I gotcha.
But the problem people have is that they cannot abstract. That you need to be able to abstract and say, what would this person do in this situation?
Right.
If
That's
you
what
can
Star
do
Wars
that,
runs into a lot. Exactly. People not being able to get on board with George. But let me get us back on track because I got one scene that I need to know from you guys because it's a doozy for me. So the princess goes to visit Atreides in the suspension cell, right? And she throws down some sisterhood training mind trick technique thing on him to get the truth out of him. How can she do that if she hasn't been trained on Wallach 9 yet?
Well,
like she hasn't gone to school.
I think that all of her prior training with the sister on Seleucus Secundus probably included some,
gave her a little bit of that training throughout her
so
life.
she would have a heads up when she got to school.
Okay, so she was prepped to do that. So that's like maybe an entry level technique.
The sisterhood are preparing her not only to be a sister but to be empress. I would imagine she would have the most advanced training of anyone in the Empire. Period. End of story.
Great point, because when she went into that cell and locked the fingers together and started doing the whole, do you really think you could make a better Imperium and getting the truth out of them? I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't get to go. Like the whole thing was that your plan to go to Wallach 9 was interrupted. I wasn't really thinking along those lines. That she's the princess. Of course, she had access to in-home training along the way, probably from the day she was old enough to walk, talk, read, and write.
Yeah,
and to get these techniques.
That whole last sequence shows you the three powers in one house. You have the princess with her new weapon. You have the emperor with his old weapon. And now you have the empress with her weapon.
So is the princess going to cut this dude loose? Like, is this going to be the exciting conclusion? Yeah, okay. That's kind of that's the easy one, right?
That's the layup. That's the layup.
That's it. Whoop.
I think that what's going to happen is that she is going to get him appointed to be one of the members of the great houses.
That's ballsy for a guy that was locked up for treason, though. Does she have that kind of pull? How does she do that? How do you get to that?
This is why I'm worried about episode 6 because I don't know if we have enough time.
You've said that twice. You said that pre-show and you said that at the opening of the show is that it's been great so far, but really, do they have enough time to resolve all this new interesting stuff that they've laid on us in episode 5? That is a concern. King Z, go. Looks like you got something.
And then going with the trailer for the last episode, like I said, it looks like it is setting up a second season.
Dude, I hope so. And one of the things I was saying to Magesguild pre-show was, we talk all the time about money and box office and per episode spend and all that other stuff. Have you seen anything on this show about money per episode or total spend or anything else?
No, I haven't seen a budget for this one yet. Like, it hasn't been released.
I'm sure they've spent a good amount of money on this show, but it's not House of the Dragon, right? Like, there's no, like, they have establishing shots that are great with like the Imperial Palace and some of those landscape shots with like the ships coming in. But it's not that. But then again, the Acolytes spent $1 trillion on their garbage.
All right,
but I think this is modestly priced, wouldn't you think?
No way, because of all of the practical effects, all of the practical stages, all of the sets.
True.
They're not CGI.
That's true. They did build a lot. You're right. But I mean, I wonder, is this a $200 million show? Do they have? I mean, could you think so?
Okay,
so you guys,
yes.
Okay.
This is on the same level of expense as House of the Dragon by far. It's probably even more costly, because House of the Dragon had a lot of stuff that they could just do with CGI. This show is almost all practical effects and wardrobe and costume.
Has to be millions, though, millions of dollars and 10,000 animators working on it. I don't know, man. That seems sketchy.
CGI. All right. Remember what year House of the Dragon was produced? Because CGI animators then were paid a lot less than they are now.
But I mean, what year was season 2 produced? It just came out this year. Are they paid less now already?
They were. They until the writers' strike and all the other strikes, they were paid dick.
Yeah. Okay, that's true.
So House of the Dragon still ran out of money.
That's true. And that's why they had to, probably because that's why they had to push that battle into season 3. That's a good point.
That's my consensus. I don't have any facts to back it up with, but
But it seems to track.
I
It
think they
does.
run out of money. This
So-
show, I think they ran out of money. This
So-
show, I think probably cost around 400 million. But
and that's a problem, like you said, with the no marketing spend, and we're not getting new eyeballs on it. There's zero search traffic on Google. It hasn't trended on Twitter ever in 6 weeks. 5 weeks. So
exactly.
I think what's the guy in charge of HBO? Zaslav. Does he look at this and just go, "Cool, you guys got a year. Thanks, though. We're not throwing good money after bad."
Well, what I think is that this is a test season to see how well it can pull before they put their money behind it, because
they go to 9.
They make enough money where they could write off a series where it's like, all right, that's not working. We're not going back to it.
That's what I'm saying. You just don't renew.
Yeah,
true.
I agree. I think the thing is, this is coming off of the second Dune film, so they were hoping that all of the hype for that film would project into this show.
Then they should have marketed it, dude. Like you said, they didn't do it.
I have no words for why this is what it is.
I mean, how do you come off a movie that grosses $1 billion and then not throw a couple bucks at advertising your show over the summer and being like, "Hey kids, don't forget, Dune Prophecy is coming out November 1st or whatever." I don't know when the first episode came out.
But I mean, have you ever seen an HBO show do that? I've always seen HBO trailers in a bunch.
The Last of Us dunked on marketing. Like there was shit everywhere for The Last of Us, everywhere.
And that was through Naughty Dog who was doing that. It wasn't through HBO.
Yeah, that's true.
My opinion,
anyway,
from a business perspective, is that they looked at the Penguin. They said, we didn't do any marketing for this show, and it had a gigantic audience.
Sid's most watched show of the year.
And please, look, Screen Rant can go screw themselves. They placed it, I think, number 27 or something stupid. I forget.
God, something.
No, it wasn't that bad. It was, it should have been number 1 or 2.
100%.
Actually, number 1 was Bluey.
Yeah, well,
yeah. Another. The Bluey is the only reason that Doctor Who season 1 for Disney
got optioned on Disney. That's right. You're 100% right. 100% right.
But
we could have to do a separate show on Bluey.
I'm not going to review Bluey. I'll talk about Doctor Who.
Yeah,
but
I'm telling you, 3 episodes of Bluey will fix your blood pressure. I promise. Yeah, it will.
Bluey is amazing. And I don't have kids, and I love Bluey.
It's a good show. Bandit's a great character. And Magesguild, you should watch some Bluey so I can get your take on Bandit as a character, as a dad. I'd love your take on that.
It's like Chris asking me to watch My Little Pony. I'm sorry.
But Bandit's good. Bandit's funny. He's a dude. You know what I mean? Like, he's a dad with 2 kids. It's a thing. It works. I think guys just kind of get it. But let's wrap up here, guys. Let me get
my point though. Is that
please.
I think they looked at the Penguin and said, we didn't have to do any work to make this show a success.
And
then they took this show and didn't understand that it doesn't have the same audience attraction.
Not nearly as broad
that the Batman had, or Batman in general has.
Especially after all of the space lesbians that we've had.
Yep. That's what that
they needed to market this show to impress upon people that this is not the Acolyte. We're not doing the same thing.
Yep. They should have leaned into the Game of Thrones and space intrigue, political thriller-y, backstabby, maneuvery thing. They should have put as much distance on the ground between this and the Acolyte, or this and the sequel trilogy. Anything girl boss adjacent even. The show should have run from that, because we know people passed on this show once they heard, like you said, pre-show Mage, is that it was BG centric, that it was Bene Gesserit centric. They're like, nope, I'm out.
And that's the thing.
Girl boss,
again,
it's not that at all.
It's not that at all. The Bene Gesserit are the core of a lot of the Dune stories, and people saw this. They took their distaste from all of these other gynocentric shows and said, I'm just not going to watch it. I'm not going to tune in. I've had enough.
Just walked away. True.
It's unfortunate.
Dude, definitely, because I think this is my surprise watch of the year for sure. Let's do this. King Z, let me get your final take on this episode, and then a prediction for the finale, because this is it. It's next week, and we're done with this show. What do you think? And then we'll jump right over to Mages.
So my take on this show is that this show would make me extremely upset, because there's only one left.
Yep. High praise.
But
Marks, where are we going next week?
going forward, you're going to see all the webs that Valia has weaved come to a head, and you're going to have a interhouse battle between Desmond, Atreides, and I just said his name, the Emperor, Javaco. Yeah, that's it.
Havaco, yep.
Yavako.
It's an H or a Y. I don't know.
It's a Y. It's like it's
Oh,
a
sorry,
J.
you're right. It's
That's right.
Havako. Havako,
Yeah.
not Yavako.
It's an H.
No, it's a
H,
J.
Oracle. Yeah, but it's an H sound.
Yeah, it's like
Jesus.
it's like
Jose.
Jorge.
Jorge. Hambalaya. No, it's not Hambalaya. There's a J.
No,
in there.
there's a J in there.
Though. All right, so next week, Inner House War, webs, everything's coming clear, mysteries revealed.
Yeah.
Interesting setup for season 2 if they think they can get it green lit. Little thread hanging.
I
Somebody
think
survives.
it will get green lit. They've talked about
Okay.
it, and the way they wrote this, they're going to have it open ended. It's not going to be a nice little pretty bow like we got on Penguin.
Okay, cool.
It's going to be the same type of thing with House of the Dragon. You know, they are going to rely upon a sequel series, but they need to have more episodes in it. They can't do a sequel with 6 episodes. So my predictions. Number 1, Desmond Hart is going to give the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood the idea to create a bloodline that they can control to create the Kwisatz Haderach. That's where the idea is going to stem from. It's not that they engineered this the entire time anymore, but they realized that this person has power, and we want to control the Emperor and the Empire, and we're going to need to breed a superior human being. Number 2, I think that the tension in the Landsrod is going to come between Hara Harkonnen, Princess Yanez, and of course our dear Swordmaster. Okay. I think that Yanez is going to try to get him free because of her feelings for him.
Yep.
And
because she truth sensed him, and he said that he cared about her, that it wasn't a lie, it wasn't all just made up. Right.
And that he also said that he believes that he could create a better empire.
Imperial. Yep. So I think she's gonna spring him.
I mean, who other Atreides are left? I mean, someone's got to continue the bloodline. He can't be killed off. He's the last of his people, as far as we know. So,
according to the show, but I mean, even in the lore that there's more Atreides on different planets.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm contextualizing this within the concept of the show. Obviously, in the lore, there's thousands of them.
Right.
And of course,
by the time we roll around to present day,
number 1, Vorian is still alive and can still have more children, but because they haven't introduced him directly, they haven't shown anyone else, just within the framework that we have, he's got to survive. He's going to be appointed to the Landsrod somehow. Constantine, I don't know if they're going to do anything more with Constantine this year, because I think that showing him taking over the fleet of Arrakis is definitely a next season type of thing. And I do want to mention another thing that I really hate about streaming shows: the 2-year gap.
Oh, dude, terrible. If it's only 2, it's almost good. Some of these shows have 2, 3, 4 years in between. It's awful. I feel like I've been waiting 12 years for the final season of Stranger Things. Like, I just want it done. These kids are like 50.
Yeah, they're gonna be claiming Social Security and still
like
in
it's
high
over.
school.
Like, they're getting AARP membership things in the mail. Like, come on.
But you also have to retain all of your cost.
Right.
How do you? Yeah. This is not a small. This is not a small cost. What happens if these people get contracts? Look what happened. I mean, I'm going to bring up Rings of Power again, but look, I forget what that woman's name was that was in the first season that was attracted to Arendir.
That played Bronwyn.
Bronwyn,
the only attractive woman on the show. Yep, I remember her.
Well, the big jugs girl on Numenor was also attractive, but
I forgot all about that island. Anyway, you're right. You're right.
You know, she left the show, so they had to write her out. I think
died off screen from an arrow.
Died off
If
screen.
I remember right. Yeah, stupid. Because, like you said, she went on to do other stuff. I think she's in
better stuff.
No, she's not acting. She's out. She's activisming. Yeah. Ouch. Like, not acting. She's just out there for the cause now. I think she's a Palestine aficionado of all things.
Oh, is she?
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah. So no loss there.
I actually I heard that she was in a different project, but maybe my memory's wrong.
Could be.
In
So,
any case,
yep.
how do you retain a cast over a period of a decade?
That's the problem. That's the problem. So let me. My final thought on the whole Vorian Atreides thing is this. I'll just leave it in form of a question. Do they bring him in the final episode to the Landsrad as like the jumping off point for a season 2? Like, is that the big shakeup that they could build a season 2 around?
Well, the Landsrad's over at this point.
Isn't it just a convening
What?
of the house?
No, what are you talking about? The Landsrad is not nowhere near over. What are you talking about?
They called it. It's like just a set calling to bring them all in. They all left.
Oh, you mean the meeting is over?
Yes. They're all gone.
Right.
The great houses have gone back to their planets. And stuff like that.
I didn't know if there was.
That's what I
like
meant by
court
over.
assembly.
Yeah, the court assembly's over.
So
Yeah,
they're probably not bringing this guy in then in a finale. Or they could. I mean, they could bring him to the Imperial planet to just shake things up in court.
So
right?
In the books, he appears before the Emperor twice.
Okay.
The line where they said that they offered him the crown is from the books. They actually did. He did reject it, as far as I recall. But will they bring Vorian Atreides in? Is an interesting question, because I really don't think that they will. Only because I don't think that there's anyone in the cast that they've announced that would portray him.
Oh, good point.
Yeah,
it's a good real world snag in that plan. Okay,
I would love it. Vorian is an interesting character. He's the son of Agamemnon, the Titan. Agamemnon became a Cymek. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a human that implants their brain into a tank and has a cybernetic body.
I want to see that. They need to bring that.
Well, they had a Cymek in they had a Cymek in the establishing shot of the show. Yeah. That machine that they were killing,
where he threw the grenade on.
Yeah,
that was a Cymek.
I need more of that, then. I need a little bit more pew pew now that you've explained to me what that is. Now I want that.
But what happened is that Agamemnon saved his, let's call it seed, and impregnated human females to create offspring, and all of them failed him until Vorian, who he thought was going to be loyal to him. In the end, Vorian found out about all of his father's crimes against humanity and betrayed him and joined the Butlerians.
Oh, okay.
Vorian,
this is more of a character I want to see.
Vorian led the Battle of Corin, and he's the one that literally saved the life of what's his name? He's one of the Harkonnens. Struggling a bit, tired. But the Harkonnen that was going to be executed because he refused to fight in the Battle of Corin. He was dishonored and disgraced, and Vorian stood before the Emperor and pleaded for his life.
I definitely need more of him then, for sure.
He's I think 300 years old, or two or 300 years old at this point. His father Agamemnon gave him a life extension treatment, and
this is wild. I need more of all of this.
Basically made him quasi immortal. I think his lifespan is around 1,000 years. And this is This is a technology that's lost to the Imperium. That's why they rely on the spice for life extension now.
I'll say. Then I think that then everything you just said in the last couple of minutes then gives there's so much more that they could jump to in a season 2 if they just plant like a tiny seed of anything like that going forward. Because I want to see how the politics here resolves. I don't need to see like a red wedding situation, or or a mad keep explosion or whatever it was in Game of Thrones that where they're just destroying shit and starting over from zero. I think I'd like to see some foundational stuff laid that can extend to a season 2 if it gets optioned, but I want to be encapsulated enough at the end of next week where I feel like I was told a complete story and I can't complain that too much stuff is up in the air. But guys, I think this is good. One more thing, because then we got to go. We're over for us.
One of my other predictions is that Lila will come up with the idea of the Kwisatz Haderach because of her ancestral memories from Rakella.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. But yeah, dude, this was great. I'm glad Mages was able to join us via new technology this week to give us that deep cut insight. Thank you very much, dude, for coming on. Do you want to replug the X account with all the great stuff you've written over there, please? People need to hear that.
The X account is Magesguild.org, Magesguild.org, capital M, capital G, capital O. And the account on YouTube that I've started is Star Wars Complained. Again, capital S, capital W, capital C.
All right, perfection. And of course, we're going to bring you back for the finale episode next week. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I beg your indulgence to play one of the music videos that I posted before we leave?
You got to. We need to get that in the studio, or can you play that on your side?
I don't think I can play it on my side.
I think we need to have that preloaded on StreamYard. Can we play that next week? I'm happy to open with it and close with it if you like.
Oh, well, if you want to do that, I can give you multiple ones, one to open, one to close.
I could probably work that out if you send it to me on Twitter. We'll talk. We can talk about that when we wrap this up here. No problem.
I thought you could just play it on your desktop through your whatever audio sources.
It seems to only work best if we have it preloaded behind the scenes in the studio. So we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. We can hook you up on that for sure. So I'm gonna do like you see me.
I would love to open with the metal version and close with the Wurzels version.
We can sort that because I've listened to those. We can sort that.
But that's out of love for the Wurzels and for Disparu. Also,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. We'll get them out there. But let's get out of here, guys, so we can talk about that. I'll throw it over to King Z one more time for that profound goodbye sequence.
Well,